what are the mistakes that we can and probably should avoid in order to create a successful business?
Okay, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes in business. The more you do, the more you'll learn. Sometimes you'll get it right, sometimes you'll get it wrong. Like, I might have 100 projects, small, all sorts of things in a year, and I'll probably screw up 20 of them. The average person will have one, and they'll get that right. In most of the cases, they'll get that right. So my sort of system is that I'll do a lot more, but yes, I'll make some mistakes there. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is understanding who they are and what they're capable of. A simple scenario is that somebody says, look, I've got to do this project, but I'll end up doing it, tonight when I get home. And then they end up not doing it, and then the next day they sort of get up and they forget about it, and then 3 days later they go, oh yeah, I've got to do that. And so they fall into this trap of their subconscious mind comes up with the greatest excuses. So that's one of the big things that happens in business and in personal life. Your subconscious mind comes up with all this other stuff. Oh yeah, I was too busy, I was this, I was that, I was so forth, so forth. So the way you've got to put your own tests. You've got to write down what you want to achieve for the week, and let's see whether you actually do achieve it. So I do a chart with people, and the average person amount of personal effort in whatever they have to do besides work, besides relationship, besides kids, or all that sort of stuff, it's 27%. That's how much effort they put in. So 73% of the time they've got the most brilliant excuses that you'll ever listen to. Going back to people saying, okay, is it good to start a business in Serbia or Africa or America? So those people have automatically come up with excuses, So, oh yeah, but if I was in Australia, I could do this. If I was in Asia, I could do this. If I just had this, So you've got to stop yourself and say, okay, what do I really do? What do I really do? What excuses do I come up with? What excuses do I say? What excuses do I have to sort of stop myself and saying, okay, write them up on the fridge and just sort of say, okay, it's very easy to when you write it up, but then a lot of people won't do that simply because they know what they don't do, and so they don't want it in their face. They don't want it in their face saying, oh yes, well yeah, I should do that, but I don't, but I'm not going to remind myself that I don't. So that's the danger of being in business, because in business there's no school teacher, there's no parents, there's nobody saying you need to do this. Yes, you have a client, and in most cases you'll respect that, but all the other stuff that's got to be done, the extra marketing, the extra bookwork, the extra budgeting, the self-sacrifice, the time. I remember when I was opening up the accounting firm, and I was running quite a few small businesses and a medium-sized business at that point, and I thought, I've got to get a license to actually do people's tax returns. And there was a course that you could actually do, and I thought, well, where do I find the time? And so it was one of those things where you go, okay, I work from about 5:30 in the morning till 6, 7, 8, 9 at night, depending on what the quotes are, depending on what the sort of situation is for the business. And I thought, okay, the only time I can actually do this is 3 o'clock in the morning. So you set your alarm for 3 o'clock in the morning, and you say three days a week I need to do that, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Set the alarm for 3 o'clock in the morning, do your 2.5 hours, because I worked out I need 7.5 hours a week for however long the course was, 13 weeks, and you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you know that whatever other project you take on, you can personally do your sacrifice because you've done it. And you've done it before, and you're going to do it again. And if you want to succeed, you've just got to keep on that pattern. But you've got to find out what you really, when you say to yourself that you're going to do something this week, this month, or whatever, really test yourself, and then you'll know. As I said, either be that guy who spends the time with the kids on the weekend, or be the guy who's full on all the time, because in the middle it doesn't work. It's never worked. That's why the fail rate is extremely high at 90%, is because people have not made that decision to sort of say, yes, this is what I've got to do, this is what I've committed to, these are the things I have to do, and this is what I have to self-sacrifice. But once again, if you decide that you've got some project you still have to do to finish off at night, but then you get home and by the time you cook dinner or watch some television or at the moment, you know, the worst things are, you know, the internet and the social media and seeing what everybody else is up to and texting somebody saying, how you doing? You know, what are you up to? And they say nothing. What are you up to? Or nothing. And then I'll text John over there, what are you up to? Nothing. So that's where it is dangerous. That's where it is dangerous. So find out what your limits are, what your real limits are, and then go from there.
Is it possible to develop business up to a certain point and then just decide to stop? Okay, I don't want to go further. This is how much I want, and that's it.
There is people who basically say to themselves, okay, I want this to be a self-managed business and I want to be able to walk away in 5 years. And let's say it's a marketing company. Let's say, for instance, a marketing company. You basically set your goal at being able to walk away in 5 years and being able to be what's called a director of the company. In Serbia, it's a different thing. A director is a general manager. In Australia, a director is somebody who owns the company, but he has a general manager to run everything. So you have to break down that business and what you have to do for those 5 years to get it to that point. And you might say, I need $10 million worth of clients and marketing and all the other bits and pieces. So you work it out from day one. You don't work it out in year 3 and say, okay, in 5 years' time, I want to do blah, 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 blah. You go from day one and say, okay, I want to be able to walk away from this business, still own it, whether it's a shared thing with the staff, whether it's a shared thing, but I want to be able to then spend my time with my kids, grandkids, or my friends or my family or whatever it may be. But you have to decide that, and then you have to work out exactly what you need to do. And trust me, there is people who've done it. There is people who've done it, and my hat off to them. They've created something that is quite large, quite unique, and they've just walked away and they've gone, okay, this is my lifestyle for the rest of my life, and that's fine. You know, I applaud them.